Karl-Anthony Towns is taking his game to another level. The first thing we got to talk about regarding how great Karl-Anthony Towns is his scoring ability. The big man can put the ball in the net from practically anywhere on the court. He averages 24.5 points per game this season for the Minnesota Timberwolves while acting as their number one option on the floor offensively. That number is actually the 14th most in the entire league right now. What makes this even more impressive is that Towns has the lowest usage percentage out of all the players who are currently ranked ahead of him. At the start of February, Towns was ranked 29th in usage percentage in the NBA. While that might make some sense when comparing his numbers to guys like LeBron James or Steph Curry or John Morant, it's hard to imagine that there are 29 players who are more deserving of usage than Towns himself. His scoring also isn't limited by efficiency. Some players love to chuck up a lot of shots and hope that it stacks up to a solid number of points at the end of the day, but that simply is not how he plays the game. He's shooting 52.9% from the field at the moment and 40.4% from behind the arc. And if you think that his deep shooting stat is a fluke because maybe he doesn't shoot that many of them, then you'd be wrong there because Towns put his three-point shooting on full display during the All-Star break when he competed in the three-point contest. A lot of people didn't really think that he was going to advance into the next round, but not only did he do that, he became the first center to ever win the whole contest. If you ever need to put up a bucket in a big situation, Karl-Anthony Towns is your guy. Whether you want him to back somebody down in the paint, posterize somebody off a pick and roll, or hit a deep catch-and-shoot three-pointer, he will get the job done. I mean, he isn't being called the greatest scoring big man of all time for no reason. You have to have a ridiculously talented offensive skill set to garner that kind of reputation, and Towns has done just that. Now let's move on to his passing ability. Towns has always thought of himself as a developing but strong passer with the ball in his hands. Earlier in the current season, Towns actually came out and said that he believes his passing ability is severely underrated, and he's probably right. So far, he's averaging 3.8 assists per game for the Timberwolves, which may not seem like a lot, but he's making the right pass more often than he did in the past. When he came into the league as a rookie, his assist ratio was sitting at a pretty low 10. Fast forward to this current season, and he's up to 15. He also jumped his assist numbers up a couple from where he started. And this doesn't even take into account all the shots that his teammates have missed after receiving beautiful passes from Towns. On paper, you might not think he's that great of a passer at all, but watching the games tells you a completely different story. I'm 100% sure that his passing is going to continue to develop and scare opposing defenses even more whenever they throw a double team at him in the post. Moving forward, we get to his rebounding. As the starting center for your team, you gotta be able to box out and stop opposing possessions while creating more for your own team on the other end. Towns does both of those things at a very high level. He averages 9.7 rebounds a game this season for the Wolves, and 2.7 of those come in the form of offensive boards, which teams live for. Getting a second chance opportunity could turn what would have been a missed shot into a wide open three-pointer. And it also makes the opposing team aware of boxing out after you take a jump shot, which could open up some teammates to get the ball if it happens to take a wild bounce. Towns knows his size and strength, so he works his way to the inside when a teammate puts a shot up. And the same goes on the other end. He's very aware of where the ball is at all times and has long arms to rise up and snatch an opposing player's shot off the glass. You just can't be a dominant center in the league today if you can't find a way to incorporate excellent rebounding into your game. Now, before we move on to this next reason that Karl-Anthony Towns is so scary good, make sure to take a minute and smash our subscribe button down there. And while you're at it, hit that like button too if you're enjoying the video, and go ahead and ring that notification bell so you'll never miss out on another one of our videos. Otherwise, Karl-Anthony Towns might just come along and destroy your favorite team. Towns is also one of the toughest people in the league mentally. He's sadly been forced to overcome so much in such a short amount of time, yet he still comes in and plays phenomenal basketball every single day. When the 2019 NBA season got suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Towns saw both of his parents get admitted into the hospital after contracting the virus. His father was able to overcome it and be discharged, but unfortunately his mother passed away. Towns openly says that the year his mother passed was the toughest of his life, but that he wanted to heal himself through others. When he came back to the sport a little bit later, he was diagnosed with COVID-19 himself and said that he had underlying conditions. He had to go through his own battle just to get himself back onto the court that year and has found a way to play at his highest level possible a few months later. It's seriously hard to go out and play a sport while battling so many other emotions and thoughts on the basketball court. Even the great Michael Jordan had some trouble on the court after his father passed away. Towns has proven to be one of the toughest players that we have in this league, and his toughness will continue to push him forward both in basketball and in life itself. It also doesn't hurt to send some love his way whenever you have the time. Now, finishing this video off on a more positive note, he has excellent handles. Historically, the center has flashed this ability from time to time, but lately, it's become a lot more prominent. Towns might be a center, but he usually doesn't prefer to put his back to the basket and post people up on a consistent basis. Instead, he likes to handle the ball out on the perimeter like Joel Embiid has every now and then. Towns, being the phenomenal three-point shooter that he is, then has the choice of driving into the lane and kicking out to a teammate, or using his handles to generate an open shot for himself. We've seen him create his own shot a number of times from deep. And that really isn't something we see out of a player at his position outside of maybe Nikola Jokic or Embiid. If you don't believe us on this one, take a look at this clip from 4 years ago that saw Towns going head-to-head against a kid at one of his basketball camps. Now, okay, he may have been going up against somebody with zero NBA experience, obviously, but the fact that he could pull off so many different dribble moves with ease was just crazy. Plus, it's always interesting to think that this was so long ago. He was still so young in the league, yet he had this much up his sleeve. Just imagine how much more comfortable he is now when handling the basketball and how much further he can still improve in this area. And with that, we officially wrap up today's video on Karl-Anthony Towns and what makes him so scary good in the league. If he's able to keep this strong level of play up for a couple more weeks, we might even see him get his name tossed around in the MVP conversation at the end of the year. After all, the Timberwolves have been winning a lot more than they have in years past, and much of that is attributed to Towns' overall improvement as a leader and player. If you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure to click on the video that appears on your screen now to keep watching more.